You've stood for an anthem you never chose the words to. You've placed a hand over your heart for a flag you were born under. You've maybe felt a flicker of guilt breaking a rule someone told you was sacred, long before you understood why. Most people assume this is just tradition, but the real answer is far stranger. For most of history, ruling a country wasn't really about armies. It was about convincing millions of strangers to believe the same story. And the most powerful story ever invented for that job was religion. Go back 5,000 years to ancient Egypt. The Pharaoh wasn't just a king. He was declared a living god, the son of Ra, walking the earth in human form. Question his commands, and you weren't committing a crime. You were committing blasphemy. Disagreement with policy became disagreement with the universe itself. Who argues with the sun? Rome ran a similar move. Julius Caesar was declared divine after his death. His adopted son, Augustus, then ruled as the son of a god, with temples built in his honor while he still breathed. Obedience to the emperor stopped being politics. It became worship. Halfway across the world, the Inca called their ruler the Sapa Inca, son of the sun god Inti. In China, emperors ruled under something called the mandate of heaven. Simple idea: heaven chooses who gets to rule. A famine? A flood? A lost war? Read as heaven changing its mind. It kept emperors terrified of losing divine approval, and it kept ordinary people believing that rebellion, when it finally came, was heaven's will, not just anger. Either way, power stayed wrapped in the language of the sacred. Notice the pattern yet? Here's the part most people miss, though. Religion wasn't only a tool rulers bolted onto power after the fact, like a costume. Researchers who study how large societies form have found something stranger. Religion may be one of the reasons large societies became possible at all. Psychologist Ara Norenzayan spent years studying this question and proposed what's now called the Big Gods theory. His research suggests that belief in watchful, moralizing gods, gods who punish cheaters even when no human is looking, helped total strangers trust each other enough to cooperate. Before that kind of belief spread widely, people mostly trusted only those they knew personally: family, tribe. Once people believed an invisible eye was always watching, they started behaving better even around strangers they'd never see again. And that let groups grow past a few hundred people into cities, then empires. Historian Peter Turchin, who studies the rise and fall of empires using enormous historical databases, found something similar. Societies built around shared moralizing religion were far more likely to scale into large, stable states. Shared belief acted like glue. It let people who would never meet each other still fight in the same army, pay the same taxes, and follow the same laws. So here's the twist. Religion didn't start as a leash. It started as a bridge, a way for cooperation to scale beyond the people you actually know. But once that bridge existed, anyone holding power had an obvious move available. Control the story, and you control the glue holding the whole society together. Anthropologist Joseph Henrich, who studies how culture shapes the human mind, has shown how deeply these shared beliefs get wired in early. Children absorb the norms around them almost automatically, copying rituals and rules without needing to be convinced first. That means whoever controls the ritual, the calendar, the version of sacred, a child grows up inside, gets to shape belief before that child is ever old enough to question it. That's the real mechanism. Not soldiers standing over every citizen with a sword. Something quieter. Control the sacred story, and you barely need the sword at all. Think about what religion, placed in the hands of a ruler, actually offers. It explains suffering, so people stop asking why the ruler allows it. It promises reward later, so people accept less now. It defines an enemy, someone impure, someone outside the faith, which unites the group against a target instead of against the ruler. And it makes obedience feel like virtue instead of submission. None of this required every ruler to be cynical. Many genuinely believed the myths themselves. That's actually what made the system so durable. A leader who believes his own divine right doesn't need to fake conviction. The performance is real on both sides, and defining the enemy was never just talk. Medieval Europe ran heresy trials, where doubting official doctrine could cost you your life. Entire villages turned on their own neighbors during witch hunts, convinced they were protecting the community from something unholy. The accused rarely had real power, but punishing them let everyone else feel united, watched over, and safely inside the circle of the faithful. Fear of the outsider kept people from noticing the ruler standing calmly at the center. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. This pattern didn't disappear when kings did. Look at the most tightly controlled regimes of the last century, religious or not. Many built the exact same architecture out of different materials. A founding myth, a sacred leader, rituals repeated until they feel automatic, an enemy that unites everyone against a common threat, symbols placed in every home, every classroom, every screen. Swap the word God for the state, the revolution, or the nation, and the machinery runs almost identically. You can spot fragments of it today, far outside politics entirely. Some companies build founder worship, treating one person's words like scripture. Some online movements build sacred symbols, forbidden opinions, and true believers who police the faithful. Even a brand's logo, repeated enough times in the right ritual, starts to trigger the same warm, tribal feeling a temple symbol once did. The names change. The underlying design, trust turned into control, barely does. So why does any of this matter to you, watching this on a screen in a world that looks nothing like ancient Egypt? Because the machinery is still running, just wearing newer clothes. Every time a symbol gives you a flicker of belonging you never examined. Every time doubting something out loud feels dangerous instead of normal. Every time an authority frames disagreement as betrayal rather than debate, you're standing inside a very old structure. It was built long before you were born, and it works on you for the same reason it worked on a farmer in ancient Egypt. Trust between strangers is exactly what makes large societies function, and exactly what makes them controllable. None of this means every belief is a trick, or every leader is a manipulator. The instinct that built cathedrals also built hospitals. The same glue that let empires form also let strangers show up for each other during disasters. The tool isn't the problem. Who's holding it, and whether you ever stop to ask who's holding it, is. So the next time you stand for an anthem, place a hand over your heart, or feel that quiet flicker of guilt for breaking a rule someone told you was sacred, ask one simple question. Who benefits if you never ask why?